Welcome to the T-Pac Arcade. Today's game is Moonsweeper for the Atari 2600. In this 1983 shoot-'em-up from Magic, you're on a rescue mission to save stranded miners on various moons in the Jupiter Squared star quadrant. I don't know what they're mining for, but it better be something interesting, like dark matter or whatever, because I'm certainly not risking my life for a bunch of moon rocks. We've got plenty of perfectly good boulders here on Earth that I can enjoy from the comfort of a habitable atmosphere, thank you very much. This is a surprisingly complex game for the Atari, since it has three distinct phases. First is the solar system phase, where you shoot and dodge aurora flares and photon torches until a moon comes along to land on. This is the most annoying phase because the torches swoop in from the sides of the screen in a poorly defined arc. How are you supposed to shoot something in your periphery when you can only aim forward? Beats me, so I had to resort to activating the shield most of the time. Which may sound like a perfectly viable solution since it makes you invulnerable as long as you're holding down and fire, but the problem is you continuously lose points whenever it's active. So you don't want to use it until you're just about to collide with something. Although, the hit detection in Moonsweeper is not your friend either. A stray bullet or torch that passes underneath your ship is just as likely to kill you as one that beams you directly from the side, which makes about as much sense as getting hurt whenever somebody steps on your shadow. In any case, when a moon passes by, you can fly over it to enter Phase 2, the surface rescue. Here, you destroy and dodge towers by regulating your speed with forward and backward on the joystick, and you collect miners by flying over them. A radar bar at the top of the screen shows you where to line yourself up for the next incoming miner, which is really helpful. But what's not helpful is the surface destroyers that launch from orbiting motherships and zigzag across the moon trying to blow you up. Most of the time they're so hard to hit that I just tried to avoid them until they crashed into a tower of their own accord. See, surface destroyers may be lethal to you, but they're equally lethal to themselves since they drive just as poorly as I do. And you can potentially get rid of them before they even surface, since pulling back on the joystick lets you shoot the motherships before they're deployed. You can also shoot passing satellites this way, which is the best method to increase your score. The final phase comes once you've rescued 6 miners. A set of accelerator rings appear on the moon's surface, and if you fly through enough of them in succession, you'll blast off back to the solar system phase and repeat the process. Now, this is all pretty straightforward on the blue moons. Since miners are abundant, you can fly slow enough to dodge everything pretty efficiently, and the accelerator rings are all lined up in a row. But that's not the case for the higher difficulty moons, green, yellow, and red. I'm pretty sure the red moon is just bloodstained from how often I got obliterated there. Everything's fast, it takes forever to find 6 miners, multiple surface destroyers deploy at the same time, and you gotta weave back and forth like a hyperactive windshield wiper to pass through the accelerator rings. It's a nightmare, but at least the more challenging moons have higher point bonuses. Moonsweeper does a lot right in the audio-visual department. The striped planet surfaces and modulating jet sounds really sell your speed changes. All the sprites have multiple colors and fun gradients without coming off as gaudy or disconnected. The distinct approach sounds for satellites and motherships make for great gameplay cues. And the overhead display packs a lot of useful information into a really streamlined layout. Score, remaining lives, miners rescued, and radar location. I also just happen to love the force field sound effect. I know I lose points every time I activate my shields, but that rhythmic wah 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 is just so satisfying. The most novel aspect of this game is the alterations it makes to the fixed shooter formula of its contemporaries, namely the whole surface rescue section and the parabolic attack trajectory of the photon torches, which, unfortunately, is also the one thing I'd change in this game. It's a neat concept, but the execution falls flat, and I'd much rather play the solar section with just traditional top-down projectiles. As is, the game is just too challenging in an unfair way, especially when you add erratic surface destroyers into the mix. Even still, I was able to accomplish my primary goal of clearing each type of moon at least once. Not consecutively, mind you, because as I said, the red moon is adequately colored as the blood-soaked war zone of my all-too-frequent demise. But surprisingly, I found the yellow moons to be disproportionately forgiving, since motherships take their sweet time to deploy surface destroyers, and I could usually blast them out of the sky before they did. And I used that advantage to achieve my secondary goal, a 6-digit score. See, I found that I could just keep point-pressing satellites and motherships on yellow planets to rack up bonuses. Granted, that meant ignoring the stranded miners most of the time, but I didn't want any of their moon dust dirtying up my space-age upholstery anyway. Overall, Moonsweeper was a lot of fun, in spite of a few frustrating design choices. My favorite part of it was the multi-phase gameplay. I know it's an endlessly looping high-score game, but the distinct sections gave me the illusion of progress, even though I know I'll never save all the space miners. Especially when I'm willfully ignoring them to get those sweet, sweet satellite bonuses. I mean, forget rescue missions. I just got 100,000 points.